Good evening. Another Monday night with bees all day. So, how are you tonight, Keith? We've got Judith Weimer's in here. How are you, Judith? We got Pennsyltucky. We got Dustin Weed. Jonathan Stevens. How are you tonight? Let's see who else is in here. Well, Keith Clay says he's going to be a tad late. Is that anything like a shade early? That's my question for Keith. So good to see everybody in here tonight. Hey, Brent, how are you tonight? So, did y'all have a good weekend this weekend? I did. We went to this Virginia State Conference this weekend. Hey, Chad, 21st B. Good to see you. 20 minutes ago, huh? Great job, huh? It's good timing. Jeremy Davison, Rob, how are you tonight? Come on screen if you want to. Let me post this thing here real quick. And then we can get the party started. All right. The link is pinned to the top of the page. If anybody wants to come in, you're more than welcome. So, did you have a good trip home, Michael? There's the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Charlie. How are you tonight?
All right. Get things situated here.
Yep. Rain through Tennessee, the whole state of Tennessee. That's a long ride home, then, wasn't it, Michael? Yep.
Hey, Keith. There's Billy Lee.
Yep. Mr. Lee's in here tonight. There's Mike from Vermont. What's the weather like up there, Mike?
Probably cold.
It's cold here. I know that. I haven't talked to my brother in a couple of days, so I've been kind of lost track of the weather up there. Hey, James, how are you tonight? Glad to see you in here. Oh, there's Mr. House. How are you tonight, Rob?
There he is.
Hello, Rob.
Good. Yeah, doing well.
I thought maybe you forgot to turn something on your end. Hey, Icy, how are you tonight?
I'm learning.
It takes a while to get used to it, right? Let's see. There's Mike. 43 degrees and light rain. Have you had any snow up there yet, Mike? In your area?
Hey, Sandy. So what's Robert doing? You hear me, Robert?
Yeah, trying to talk over Bill. Oh, we just got in from feeding some bees. Yeah.
Feeding bees?
That's not a bad thing to do this time of year.
How'd you do with that trailer load of bees that are, what was it, over there around, what was growing in the area? Was it buckwheat or crimson clover or something or another? Over around Gettysburg, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't you move some bees down on the sunflowers too?
Yeah, they actually put in a they put in a mixed crop. Yeah.
And how did that work? I mean,
the first thing that came on was the buckwheat, and they brought in a little bit of buckwheat, and then after that, the sunflowers came on. They're still blooming.
So they get the nectar out of them?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you were saying that you were just trying to get them fed naturally instead of you having to feed so much.
Correct.
And all that. So tell us about the big conference there, Bill.
Well, it was a really, really, really good conference, I think, for Virginia this year. Being that we missed a year last year, we had to kind of rebuild the crowd. Hey, Rob, you got to turn your mic on if you want to talk.
Well, he's talking to somebody else in the room, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We had some really good speakers. We had one not so good speaker.
Same conversation.
And the rest of them are really good speakers. Ryan did a really great job with his presentation. We had 2 presentations about honey show prep, and they were really good. They were put on by the judging community that was there. It was really good. I've got to say the vendors, they did okay. They didn't, sell the world, but they did okay, I think. We had a guy out of Chesapeake, Virginia. We had Shamrock was there. Of course, they don't sell anything to open public. Hilco was there. Dedant was there. Michael was there. And those were the major vendors, and Bob was there. And then we had another vendor that was there selling hive heaters.
Hive heaters?
Yeah, they latched on to Randy Oliver's research project, and they designed a hive heater. But I asked him, I said, well, what are you doing for the humidity part of it? Get the humidity up in the hive to help kill the mite. Oh, well, nothing. You can put a wet sponge in there if you want to.
Now, was this for killing the mites or keeping the bees warm?
Killing the mites.
Well, they had them 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, it raises the temperature up to about 104, 105 degrees in the hive. But there, like I said, there's no humidity part of it. Like Tom was talking about, and the way he's doing his experiment. Well, Clay's here finally. Good to see you. You were just a tad late, and my question to you is that like a shade early. So, but the conference was really good. I mean, I talked to a lot of people. A lot of people loved the honey show. That was a great success. I can't get over that, how successful it was. But we all had a good time.
Yeah.
We elected new officers.
So now you're out of a job.
I'm out of a job. Yep, I'm unemployed as far as the VSBA is concerned.
Bill, where'd they have the show at?
Whitful. The 2026 conference is already planned, and that's either going to be right now. We're penciled in at Weir's Cave. That could change though. Depends upon the venue. They're looking at a backup venue, so around the Charlottesville area. So we'll see.
That's over off of, what is it, 77?
Charlottesville?
Yeah.
29. Route 29. And 64 cuts across there too.
All right, that's 60. I'm thinking off of 8. Go down past your place, make a left on 64.
Yep.
And it's the first major town.
Yep. Or you can come right down 29. Straight down Route 29. That's 4-lane road all the way down through there. So,
have they picked any speakers yet?
They do. We're not releasing speakers yet for 2026 till closer to the conference. So I guess in a way I'm unemployed from the board, but I'm the newsletter editor. So,
all right. Well, I know Mike was on Saturday night chat. Yeah, Saturday night chat on Joey's and Mike Berry, and he had a good time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his talk. It was he did. Of course, Mike's got a personality that he likes to play around. So, yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, I
Robert,
was.
go ahead.
I was talking to Clay. I was the big cheese, not now. So you missed that one.
Was that a 1-day conference?
2. Well, actually, a day and a half is what it was. So, but we did have some stuff going on Friday too.
So did they speak on Friday or not, or is it just Saturday?
Yeah, they actually Dr. Wilson had a small class on Friday. They did microscopy, had a microscopy class, and so
Yeah. I don't know. I think what was it? Ryan Williamson was on Sunday afternoon or something like that.
Yep, Sunday afternoon, and he was the next to last speaker on Sunday. But he did a really good job.
What was his topic? Queens or something else?
No, I don't have my schedule here in front of me. I don't remember what the topic was. The only one I really remember was Mike's and the other one that didn't go so well. I won't name that person.
But then you had your science girl. She was
the science girl. That one went really well too. Michelle Flanagan. That one went really well. So
she out of a B lab. She out of a B lab though.
She is the virologist for Montana State University.
Nice.
Montana or Minnesota?
Montana.
So it deals with viruses of the bee, I presume.
Yep, that's what she researches. So, yeah, she had a lot of good information. And if you're a member of the VSBA or a resident of Virginia, Southern West Virginia, Eastern Tennessee, or Western North Carolina, and you didn't come to that conference, you missed a couple of good talks. So.
That's, I think, one of the things that I don't think there's really an answer for it yet, but we stress about killing mites, but then you have the viral loads.
Yep.
Trying to have something that maybe will help the bees do the viral loads, but on the other hand, I watched Benny here 3 or 4 weeks ago about the guy out of Georgia about the with super DFM and strong microbials, where that seems to, from what I gathered from his talk, helps with the bee gut and helps that bee get rid of the viruses, or it's actually its immunity system.
Yes.
Which is part of its gut.
And I will say this too. What is it? Nora or Noroa?
Yeah, that
is approved for use in the state of Virginia for sure, according to the state apiarist. It is not approved in Maryland yet, and he doesn't believe it's approved in West Virginia yet. Hey, Tom. So, it's out there. We can use it here, but you can't use it there yet.
I'd have to get more information on that. I mean, I understand what it does, but when to apply it and
what to back it up with.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that the state apiarist was talking about. He said, yes, but you need to back it up with something else to actually kill the mite. So That's the other thing that he was talking about.
Well, I did find out some more information where you put 2 packets on a hive, or sometimes maybe 4 packets on a hive, and they talk about it lasting 2.5 or 3 months. Actually, the 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 baggie is kind of like a Ziploc bag feeder, where the bees will suck it out within 3 or let's say a week's time, and you take the baggies out. So down the feed is in the hive, and then they consume it in order to get it into the mouth parts of the varroa mites.
Yeah.
But it sounds like to me it's going to take a a long period of time in order to get it into the varroas, in order for them to not be able to produce baby varroa bees.
Yeah, I kind of Googled that a little too, and that's what they're saying here 18 weeks. But it's good for any temperature, which is
Right.
nice. Yeah.
Yep. And I guess the other big thing that you can't always rely on OA to back it up. Depends on the time of year. You should really consider Apiguard or Formic to back it up as well. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Looks like it's also approved here in Pennsylvania, so which is good.
okay.
Look into that.
And
We
I
have a
mean,
state.
we were discussing it here. I forget what night it was, and it goes into the prior to supers being put on there, the bees are going to take the sugar water basically laced with the stuff and put it in the brood chamber, and then I guess they'll feed on it as they need it. So it sound like to me I don't know, there needs more for me. It sounds like it need me a little bit more investigation as far as timing and when you do it and when you don't do it, and I don't know. You have to look into that. But it's not killing the mites; it just doesn't make them. So you still got to kill mites,
Yeah. You still have to kill the mite.
and the stuff ain't cheap, from what I gather.
No, it is not cheap at all.
So,
So
but well, I'm glad it was a decent thing. I would have liked to win. I think, I don't know. We were busy this past week anyway.
yeah,
So,
you've been really busy with a mill, haven't you?
yeah, we had a big blocking order to get done last week, and then
Yeah.
I got another blocking order in. We're working on that now, and I don't know. Then I worked on my bees. I took the last hive that was queenless, which was a medium box. I had condensed them down into that one box, and they were quite a at least a 3-pound package or more in there, maybe 4 or 5 pounds of bees in that one box. It was pretty tight for the bees as far as the amount of bees in there, and they were a little bit, I won't say they were, you open them up and they were kind of, I guess because there's no queen, they're a little bit agitated and they're kind of blowing up into your face a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I decided, the one hive that queen came along and got mated, and she had 3 or 4 frames of brood in there, and I checked her over the weekend to see how she was doing, and still got eggs and stuff in there. And I don't know whether I did right or not, but I went ahead and put a pollen patty on there for her because I couldn't remember whether they had frames of pollen in that hive that much. So I put that right over top of the brood. Then I papered the hive, put the 3rd box back on that was one from another hive. And I said, well, I don't want these bees to go to waste. So I sprayed them down with some peppermint sugar water along with that top box that had any bees in there. And I put them on there. So there's a medium paper, pollen's underneath the paper, and then the original brood area. I'll probably condense the hive down maybe later. So I'm done as far as combining hives. and oh, they were out there flying Sunday, and maybe for a few hours at midday when it was about close to 60 degrees, they were out flying pretty good. I had I guess I had took 2 buckets of honey and put it in my bottling tank. It was about 100 pounds. Well, it was just a little over 100 pounds of honey put in there. And I set the buckets out there. I forgot about them the one day. So I guess I stuck them out there Saturday morning. It was chilly, but by the time I got out there in the evening, the bees had gotten out of the hives and licked everything clean for me. So they were still flying some. And got that done. And sales have been pretty good here lately as far as people coming in buying honey. It's been pretty much steady all along, but some weeks I sell more than others.
Yeah.
As far as people coming in and getting stuff.
Well, I submitted flavor paperwork to the state today for approval, so we'll see how that goes.
What to make flavors?
To make flavors.
You mean like creamed honey or what?
No, flavored honey, infused honey.
Oh.
So that went in today.
I
see
think
how long it takes them to get it back to me now.
Well, and then you changed your hours in the shop, didn't you, for this now?
I did. I went to winter hours. I'm now closed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday until probably the end of March. We'll see how sales run after first year after I get back from Nobby, but typically it's into March before it starts picking up. So
I just jumped on Man Lake's website. I was looking at that, Nora, and they say here that if you buy 40 plus pouches, they won't ship it to you unless they have your what's it say here? Your operator identification number on file. So that's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before. That they monitor how much mite treatment you buy.
Huh. That's something new.
Yeah.
Now the operator, you mean talking about a pesticide application license?
I don't know that.
If you buy over a certain amount, you got to have that applicator's license.
Yeah. So I guess if you buy 39, you're good. If you buy 40, you're done.
Yeah. So buy 35.
2 weeks
and then
later,
wait 3 months and buy 35 more.
Yeah.
Well, to get your quote operator's license, I mean, I know they have that for if you want to spray your fields, and you got to go to a little sit down class here at the feed mill.
Yeah, but you got to take a test.
Is that the same operator's license that they're talking about?
I don't know. I'll call Dan Lake and talk to them, ask them, see what they're looking for. They said you can contact who did they say here? Yeah. Contact your county Department of Agriculture.
Yep.
And they'll give you what your operator license number is. So, yeah.
Yeah, they just won't give it to you. You got it in Virginia. I can tell you what the procedure is in Virginia. You have to go to your extension office. You request to take a test. They'll give you the book. Then you schedule a day to come back and take the test. But if you can get there's two different types of licenses. There's a private applicator and a commercial applicator. If you're a farmer or a private person and you're not going to go out and do it for other people, get the private applicator. It's easier. If you get the commercial applicator, you have to provide insurance. You have to give them a business license number. And there's something else they want to know how much of it you're going to be spraying for other people before they will allow you to do it.
It's interesting.
Yeah, Tom's got applicator license there for commercial herbicides and pest license.
Yeah.
for
And
earning.
I've got my private for herbicides, pesticides. So
I think they
Now,
require.
what about, remember, what was it? What was the stuff that they came out, being a farmer came out? I guess it was maybe um, Aprivar in a tube, like the
Yes.
toothpaste looking stuff.
yeah,
Yep.
You
it's
had
a
to have
flash treatment. It's the
yeah,
flash treatment. You have to have an applicator's license to get it.
Yeah. They're making it difficult for the backyard guy for sure.
That's definitely what they're doing.
yeah, but with that toothpaste tube, I mean, it was designed for, I mean, so many hundred hives.
Yeah.
It was too expensive. And all that
Let's
stuff.
try it again, Phil.
Hit the back button. I know better than to do that. It keeps you out when you do that. How y'all doing?
Good.
All right, Michael. We'll see you in the green room tonight.
I was trying to get over and look at the chat. Well, I'm on my phone, so there it is. All right, cool. So, now you guys, I was kind of out trying to get back in. Did y'all finish what you were going over? Because I was going to tell you a crazy bee story if you're ready for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, so I harvested the last of my fall honey. Actually, there's some out there still, but I'm going to leave it. And the bees were crazy, aggressive and defensive and robby and all that, like you'd expect them to be this time of year. But I was fighting through it, but I couldn't get the bees to get off the comb. So I ended up bringing them in the house, and then they'll fly back to the window, and you'll vacuum them up and let them out and whatnot. So it was a pretty damn chaotic sight around here, with a couple of thousand bees probably in the against the glass door trying to get back out. Loud buzzing. Now I look up and I see my middle son. I thought it was just me and Noah here. My middle son was away at college, and my middle son was standing there, and I said something to him about the bees, and he said, "Yeah, your bees attacked me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He had parked in the back. Now my house has the door in the front, street parking, and it has an alley in the back with a couple of parking spaces. And to get from the alley to the front, you have to go around like 5 houses, basically go up to the road and come back around. So anyway, he said he got out of his car and they jumped him, and he took off running down the alley, and they were stinging him. Now I was out there working the bees at this time, I think, or bringing, So, and he was mad. He was hot. And at that point, I apologized to him. I said, "I'm sorry that happened." But I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm getting out of here." Because I mean, there was at least 1,000 bees inside this house, and he had just got stung up, so he didn't want to hang around. But he needed to. His car was in the back in the alley, and he had come around to the front, and he was about to go back to his car to get in his car and leave. And I said, "Well, I'll go." I still had my bee suit on, my bee jacket on. I said, "I'll go get your car and bring it around front to you." So I did. I took his keys and I went and drove it around front. And when I came back in the house, I looked at him and he was all red. And he said, "Yeah, it's really itchy." And I mean, he had hives breaking out all over him. So I said, "Well, let me go get you some Benadryl." And he had already got one can. He was trying to open it. And when I grabbed the Benadryl, I came back in the kitchen to grab the Benadryl. I heard him gasp. And so I yelled for Noah, who was upstairs. And I grabbed the EpiPen and ran back in there. And he couldn't catch his breath. So we laid him down on the bed. And Noah gave him the EpiPen. And I mean, it fixed his breathing in like 10, 20 seconds tops. But his hive stayed, and I was running to get my phone to call 911 because I thought, once you have that reaction, you have to go to the hospital. And Noah was looking on his phone, and he said, "Well, they've changed. They don't recommend They say if the symptoms have subsided and you have a second EpiPen, they don't recommend you calling 911 or going to a hospital. They just want you to monitor. So that's what we did. Of course, he's itching like crazy now, and we're going and giving him the Benadryl. So, and we were trying to figure out how much we could really give him. He ended up taking 3 of them, but he was real itchy, and I said, well, would it feel better if you went and laid in the bathtub? And so he did that for a good 30 minutes. And then he got out on his own and basically laid down in my bed, which is right by where he was in the bathtub. And, but he had these hives. I mean, they looked horrible. And he was really, really tired. And he said he felt heavy and,
That's the Benadryl working.
It could have been, and Noah said he thought also that when you get that shot of adrenaline, it'll also make you real tired. So he went to sleep, and I had a little thing I put on his finger that measured his heart rate and his oxygen level, and that was fine. And of course I checked on him every 10 minutes for a long time. But while he was asleep, his hives got even worse, and I was like, should I still get this kid to the hospital? And I was talking to Noah about it, and Noah's like, no, as long as he's resting, I think he'll be all right.
Now, when you say the hives, you're talking about like the skin swelling up?
Yeah, little red spots that were in some places were touching. So like you had areas as big as your hand that were just red, and then other places that were just speckled and little raised. That's what I mean by hives. He had them from the top of his head to the bottom to his feet.
So he was stung all over.
No, he got stung 5 times. He said, like twice in the back of the head and twice behind the leg, and then once on the back of the arm.
Wow.
So, yeah, just 5 times, which we get stung 5 times all the time, don't we? But, but anyway, he laid there for about 2 hours and slept, and then I heard him get up, and I walked in there, and he looked a lot better. Still had a little bit of the hives, and he looked like, okay, looks like we're going to come out of this. And then he went, he was looking for some underwear because he just had a towel over him. That's all he had. And because he got out of the bathtub, and he went in the bathroom, put his underwear on. Then I peeked in there, and he was like starting to wobble back and forth. And I was like, whoa, hey, here, hold on a second. He grabbed hold of the sink, and I said, you dizzy? He said, yeah. So he said, I want to go get in my bed. So at this point, I'm like right there with him. And he's walking real slow. And we get about not halfway back to his room. And he said, I can't see. And so I just reached and grabbed him under the arms. And he outweighs me by about probably 50 or 75 pounds. So anyway, he kind of went limp, and I just eased him down to the ground on his butt. And Noah had gone to the grocery store to get some stuff, just stuff he needed to get. So I called him. I said, put all that stuff back. Come help me get this kid to his bed. Yeah, this was Jared, my middle son, Tom. So we went and got him in his bed, and of course I kept checking on him. And a couple more hours, the hives started going away. His color started getting better, and now he's up watching TV and talking about going to the movie.
Wow.
That's
what we've been dealing with today.
That's interesting. I've heard people, they say they get stung like that, but I figured in that circumstance that they would have to get stung about, 20 times or something to get that, but I guess not.
Yeah, that's what I would think too, Charlie. I mean, other than some people, they say it takes just one sting, right? So, but yeah, it definitely, and it I would say, and I'm sharing this because I want people to understand it. Get you some EpiPens and keep them around, because for sure it saved us a trip to the hospital. Might have saved his life, who knows? But we were here in town. It doesn't take 5 minutes usually for the fire department or somebody to get here. But
5 minutes could be a.
The whole episode, I was trying to backtrack in my mind how long everything took before that hit him, but somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes is what it took before it hit him. So it doesn't take long at all. So anyway, yeah. Now I'm trying to figure out, trying not to overreact, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to move my bees from here to somewhere else.
Just lucky you had that EpiPen.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you know he was allergic before this?
No, I did not. He'd been stung before.
Oh.
He used to, when he was younger, when I first got into the bees, he's the one that helped me move them 2 colonies from a man's house to here. And he probably got stung at least once or twice on that deal because we were carrying those full-size hives to put them in the back of the truck and unload them from the truck and set them up in the yard. But yeah, I asked him that, and he said, yeah, he's been stung a few times. He did say recently when he got stung that he got 2 stings in the leg. I think he was out mowing the yard, and he took 2 stings to the leg. He said that his leg swelled up and hurt for several days. I didn't know that. He didn't say that to tell me that, but he said that had happened. That was probably about a month ago.
Well, the bees got into something.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I have a daughter. She's not living at home anymore. She got married here a year ago, but she's been highly reactive. Where if she gets stung, it is a trip to the ER, and she has to get a steroid shot, and then she's on steroid pills for 4 or 5 days. And if she gets stung in her forearm or her bicep, you would swear her bicep is her thigh. It swells up that big. It is one huge welt. I mean, it looks like a 10-inch pimple. It's massive and fire engine red and itches, and but it's never affected her where she can't breathe or anything like that. I hate to think she got 4 or 5, that would maybe do her in, but we keep some EpiPens around for that as well.
Yeah, I mean the EpiPen, it's like a miracle. I mean it took care of his breathing in seconds. But the hives, he might have done him good to have a steroid shot for those hives. That probably would have helped him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that worked out for you.
But they're gone now. I mean, his skin's clear as can be. But yeah, it was a pretty scary episode.
What's your temperature out there right now, Phil? Is it 70 degrees or so? Or?
The reason I was pulling the honey today is because this is the highest it'll be. When I started pulling, it was like 70 going to 77. So I'm sure that's what it got to today.
Well, what I'm getting at is you said you couldn't get the bees off the comb. Do you use a fume board or what?
Yeah. Well, here's what my original plan was. I have some deeps that I put on after the honey flow, and the bees. Our flow never really stopped this summer. Maybe a little bit, but not like usual. So I just put those. I had some deeps. I maybe had a dead out or 2. So I took and I basically did some checkerboarding with comb I already had that was drawn out, and I just stuck it on there as much to give them space. And also I was going to feed them, and I think I did feed them like once, but it was like 2 quarts maybe.
Yeah.
But I noticed they started putting on a lot of weight, so I quit feeding them. And then we got into the fall, and man, they just acted like it was spring again. So anyway, I was going to pull basically a couple of frames off of each end of that top box because I thought there might be a little brood in the middle. And so that was my plan, just to go out there, and I was just going to smoke them and brush the bees off and stick them in a super and bring them in the house. If I got one super, I was going to be happy. Well, it got so crazy in the bee yard trying to pull, and those frames were wedged in there. I was having trouble getting them out, and the bees were obviously just jumping all over me. And so I was smoking them. So I finally changed my plan and went and got my fume board and started fuming them. And it pushed them down most of the way, but we wasn't getting them off that bottom, inch and a half or so. You guys have probably experienced that sometimes.
Yeah.
With those. So, but I couldn't. It was so crazy, and the robbing was starting up so bad, I couldn't sit there and pull out one frame and brush it off like I'd planned on doing. So I just decided I'm going to carry these up here full. They were heavy as stink. And then if they had brooding, I'll deal with them then. So I ended up bringing up 2 full supers and the half of one I had pulled apart. I was only going to pull them off of 4 hives. And one of them, they're still out there, and they're going to stay out there. So I got off of 3. So I got 2.5 pretty full supers, deeps of honey. And I'll go out there tomorrow morning and put them back on. I've been extracting all day while I was dealing with that too. But so that's kind of what happened. Was it just I got to a point where the bees were. I would put the fume board, I brought all the bees up to the patio and I put the fume board on. Well, that would drive the bees to the bottom, but I didn't have a place for them to get out. And when I'd open it up to let them fly out, as many bees was flying in as was flying out. So I had to just make a decision and bring them inside the house. So when the bees flew out, at least they were just flying out and no more were flying in. And that's when that's when it all started with. Jared happened to come home about that time, and they were looking for somebody to sting that didn't have a bee jacket on, and they found him.
Yeah. Yep. That'll do it.
What's Brad up to?
Not too much.
Hey, Brad.
Living with the bees. Hey, how you doing?
You were the topic of a conversation Friday night, Brad.
Oh yeah, what about?
Mike Barry and I were having a conversation about requeening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, your name came up.
Good or bad?
It was good.
We got to talking about hunting, Brad, and now I get all these darn advertised with these. I mean, these are some super duper looking crossbows I've ever seen.
They're listening.
They're listening, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if they're Chinese bows.
I don't know. This thing here looked like it was like a cannon, but it was a crossbow. I'd never seen nothing like it before.
Oh, really? No, I did have one of those situations in the bee yard. I got a couple of them 6/6 license nukes there.
Yep.
Well, I hadn't checked on it because I had checked them, late in the summer, and they were all queen right with some new queens. And I noticed I was working some other bees, and I noticed 2 of them getting robbed out. And I'm there like, gee whiz, what's going on right here? And by the time I broke them apart and everything, it was too late. The bees had done taken over, and you could tell there was a battle that went on, a bunch of dead bees in the bottom of the box. And when I was pulling the frames out, what it was, they were honey bound. And I guess they got so small they couldn't protect the hive no more from all the robbers. But I didn't see any queen or anything like that. No, just a bunch of bees fighting and everything else. So I just took them off and moved them to another section of the yard to keep them from robbing the others that were right there. Well, I continued working some more boxes, and about 50 feet over, I had a dead out from the summer where I just had the box and the cover just turned over, just to hold the space. And I looked, and there was a clump of bees clinging to that box. And I said, dang, well, that must be where one of them absconded to. So I started to move the box apart and try to look into the bees and stuff, see if I could find the queen. And I found a solid ball of bees. And so I grabbed it, and I'm breaking it apart. Sure enough, that was a queen inside. They were balling her. And I said, what the heck is going on? Why would they be balling their queen? And so I put her in a clip, and I was gonna go get a little 3-framer to put right there to let them crawl into, and I saw another queen, and I said, and they're both mated queens, and I guess they landed right there because they couldn't go very far. It was like I said, it's about 25 to 50 feet away, and so that queen was just going around the bees, you know, no problem. They wasn't doing her anything, so I put the 3-framer there, and they all crawled into the. I went get 2 of their honey frames that was still good in their boxes, and I went get a frame of brood from another hive and put in there, and they all crawled in there, and that queen walked right in there with them. Well, that queen that I had in that cage, I put her in another hive just so that they would feed her, so that the other bees would feed her. Went back the next day, could not find that original queen in that box. All the bees were still there. It was still packed with bees in that 3-framer, but could not find that queen. They had done killed that queen, or I don't think she would have left without any bees. But went through the 3, because it's only a 3-framer, went through all 3 frames over and over and over again, and she was marked, so it would have been easy to, not to miss. So I said, well, heck, let me go get that other queen out of there. And I went, put her in there, and left her in there, and came back the next day, and they were all around the queen cage, like they, not trying to ball or anything. So I just put a marshmallow in that cage and went ahead and put her back in there. Went back the next day, they killed that damn queen too. For some reason, those 2 colonies got together and killed the 2 queens that were
combined.
They were talking.
Weird. Yeah. So now I got a queenless nuke. So I'm gonna have to combine them. I got another 3-framer that has a good queen in it. I'm gonna have to just maybe put some newspaper and put them over the top of each other.
Maybe it was like that, those westerns where they shoot each other.
I don't know.
One side killed one's queen, the other side killed the other's queen.
Maybe they just had so much stress from them robbers and stuff. It just was.
Well, you might. I don't know. It's like this last combine I did, the last 2 times I sprayed them with peppermint sugar water. It's the first time I ever really did any of that, whether that really works or not, but supposedly makes everybody smell the same. And by the time they get
supposed to
that, and by the time they get done licking each other, everybody likes each other.
Well, ain't nobody liked each other in my situation.
You probably had some Cajun queens in there. That was the problem.
They were my queens. Those mean little suckers. It wasn't those Hawaiian queens.
Brad, I watched a video here. I don't know. I want to say a month or so ago. I actually shared it on my Facebook page, but it was. I don't think it was here in the States, but somebody took a mated queen, and they actually dipped it completely in honey. They had it like in a pair of forceps, and submerged her completely in honey, and then dropped her into a queen mating bank. And I guess they figured that till they would get her cleaned off, she'd be accepted. I had never seen anything like that. And then I seen something similar to that done back in the summer on another video where they took a package of bees, I guess, where they shook a package. And sometimes, depending on how many colonies they got to pull bees out of to make the 3-pound package or 4-pound package, they could fight each other. And they took that whole package, once they shook the bees in, submerged the whole package completely into sugar syrup. Pushed it completely under and brought it up and set it off the side. And I guess they figured until they lick each other off, they're happy with one another. Plus their guts full, so they're not getting sugar cans so hard.
Now,
I saw a video where go ahead, Charles.
Ryan Williamson out here in Virginia that was down at the conference, he did that. Somebody asked him about a question, and he put
song of it.
Is that the one you said thinking about, Phil?
He took the queen while it was still in the cage and dumped it in sugar water before he put it in the hive. That must have been. Yeah, I saw that on his video.
Well, he actually had 2 virgin queens in there along with attendants. and no problems. And they put 3 virgin queens in there, no problem.
Okay,
And the
yeah.
4th one was a mated queen out of a nuke that had been laying. She was a laying queen put in there, and wasn't too long they killed her.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
so, you know, you don't never understand sometimes.
Well, I was talking to a woman this weekend. She's got a double queen colony, laying queen,
Yeah, that's
and they're sisters. And they get a lot. They it's a double queen colony.
I've
Both
had
of them,
a mother and daughter before because I had a marked when yellow was the marker. I had a marked yellow queen, and they made a supersedure cell. She hatched out, got mated, and they never killed the mother.
Never killed a mother.
that
Yeah.
happened to me, Brad. But when what I did was I thought, okay, I'll make a split with this daughter. So I did. And then I came back and like a week or so, and there was a capped supersedure cell with the mother. So I was like, all right. So there were some eggs in there. So I just knocked it down. And then well, a week or two later, there was another one. So I let them just go ahead and replace her. But here's what I think. They were just letting her hang out. She wasn't laying good enough to suit them, and they wanted that daughter, but they just were letting mom hang around because, it wouldn't bother anything. She was still laying, but she wouldn't. I don't think she was laying enough to suit the colony. And I think when you do have 2 queens, it's kind of that situation. One of them probably isn't worth much, even if she's laying, and the other one probably is.
I had a nuke that had a mother and a daughter in there, and I didn't know that. I was like, pulled the frame up. Oh, there's the queen. She's running all around, on the small side. 2 frames over. Well, here's Big Mama with with a dot on. I'm like, darn. And I happened to have another nuke next door that was queenless. And I went back and I found her on that queen, and I just kind of held her down, held the frame on top of the other hive, and she kind of walked off down in there and wasn't, I don't know, 3 seconds, them bees were jacking their butts up in there and saying, hey, the queen's here, the queen's here. And went back in 2 weeks, and she had a frame or 2 laid up.
I think the only reason I noticed there were 2 is they were on the same frame about 3 inches apart.
Yep.
They were right there together. I don't think I would have taken one queen, put it back together, and moved on.
Phil, I often wonder what would happen if you separate those queens, broke that colony into 2 different colonies and left one in each one. I wonder if they would raise another queen to supersede the mother.
That's what they did in my case, for sure.
Okay.
My question is like we were talking about getting my queens that I made this year mated, where I walked those virgins in and they didn't, either they killed them or whatever, where I took and shook this young virgin queen off of that hive into the other. Now, was it the fact that she'd been in the hive and had the scent or what, where she walked in on the other and they immediately, accepted her? It's like, what was the difference there,
Yeah.
How old were your virgins, Charlie?
I did it quite a different ways. I had some virgins that were 7 days old where they were totally matured. They could actually, one of them flew off on me one time. So then some of them would walk, and then I had them where they were 2 days old and I walked them in, and they didn't, some of them worked and some of them didn't, as far as being acceptance. And then I did the 7-day thing, and then I put them in cages by themselves, or where they ate the candy out, or I'd put attendants in them, and I was trying different combinations to see how more successful. Now, all the queens were marked when I got them. Now, some people say that didn't really matter either, so I don't know if it did or not. Previous years when I was doing it, I would put cells in a 2-frame mating box with bees in it. And those years ago, I had a much higher acceptance rate of getting the queens, mated and coming back and laying up the box and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say this year that getting mated queens mated was very difficult.
Yeah. My greater success is using cells, ripe cells and let them hatch. I've even had them where they're starting to chew out, and I'll put a piece of tape or something over it just to hold it so they can't get out, and then shove that cell in there, and then let them crawl out. And there's something, I got a stupid fly here, so if you think I got some tick going on, it's not. And
Yeah, I could see it. I thought it was a bee.
yeah, I wish this would be I could catch it, but it just seems like if it's crawling out of that queen cell for some reason, I don't know, they like her a whole lot more, and I don't know what it is, but I've
Well, I
marched.
was wondering whether if she starts piping, and with the piping, it's completing the genetic code, I guess you would say, or the communication system between the worker bees and that queen, and they
Yeah.
know it's a queen, even though it's not mated yet. Whether that has something to do with it, I don't know at all.
I think you're probably on the right track, Charlie. It does come back to the piping, for the communication between them and the other bees.
Well, I'm thinking about, like, she doesn't really have a prominent pheromone, but they know she's a queen, even though she's a virgin. And then there's the piping aspect of it. And
I know Charlie will know.
and they also, I think, doesn't the worker bee go up there and kind of chew that into that cocoon down a little bit so she can come out better? Or she chews on the inside, but
Right.
I'm wondering whether all these different pheromones, the piping and all that stuff has a major effect that we can't see or hear.
Well, here's what the research says, Charlie. Signals presence and readiness. The virgin queen pipes to announce her arrival and dominance to the hive and any other virgin queens still in their cells. This helps the workers to know a new queen is ready to take over, especially when the previous one is gone. That's what the research says.
Yeah, because everybody says the queen goes around and stings the other queens that are in the cells, but actually the other bees go around and hits them. Because I've had some people, actually, one guy, he said several years back now, he had a observation hive with a bunch of queen cells in there, and he said that queen started piping, and he says, yeah, it was louder, it was enough that he could hear it even over the television set.
Yes.
And when that queen started piping, he says that hive went into a frenzy.
Yep.
Where the bees just went, ballistic, you might say, and they were running around chewing and killing the other queens and stuff.
Yeah. And also, when she pipes, if they're near her, they will freeze. They won't come towards her. They will back off. Mm-hmm. So it allows her to navigate the hive in relative safety for a while.
So that's what I'm going to do next year. Is I'm going to go back to putting cells in. I'll just have to go around, and once she gets mated and whatever, I'll have to find her, and then I'll have to pick her up, and then I'll try to mark her. Now, with no gloves. I'm getting better at that. I actually did that to one of my hives. I actually had laid the frame down, and she was slow enough that I could go down there and grab her, and I held her in my hand and actually painted her without using a cage or anything else like that. So I
Charlie,
guess
how often have you marked your queen and colored her eyeballs while you're marking her?
Yeah. I don't. I learned that you go in a circle motion and you don't try to paint. If you get some paint on there, it's good enough.
Yep. So DC's question is, but then why do they pipe in the cells? Because they're going to answer the piping of the queen that's out, and when they answer, that pinpoints where they are, and it gets them killed. Is what it does.
Well, the piping usually they're still in the cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Most of them.
a new queen will pipe when she comes out.
Right. I agree with that. But yeah, DC, I think when they're piping in the cell, they're piping saying, "Hey, I'm ready to come out."
Yeah,
Yeah, they're ready to come out, and I think, and she's always that bee is being as ahead of the other cells that are in the hive.
yeah.
So another thing that this is just my thoughts, but things like the like what they call the queenless roar.
Yeah,
I believe what that is when you pop that lid open, those bees that don't have a queen, for some reason, I think it triggers them to fan the hive scent because they're hoping that the queen will come flying in there, or a queen will come flying in there. And the reason I say that is because I caught a little swarm, and they'll also make that sound when you drop a queen in there. Like I put her in the clip.
Falling on my back.
Small swarm. I dropped her in the box with them, and all of a sudden they started fanning that she was there. And of course, the swarm's flying around everywhere, but it made the same noise as a queenless roar when they were signaling for the other bees to, if they were trying to fan her scent up into the air so the other bees knew where she was. So that's my theory, is that queenless roar is them trying to fan that hive scent up into the air in hopes that the queen will find them. A queen will find them in it. That's what it is.
I know. Years past when I was just beginning, I had a hive that went queenless. Before I could hear them, they were so loud. I didn't even have the top off or anything. That they were roaring as I walked by the hive and everything. I recognized it was something, and I don't know. I asked a person I thought was, had more experience than I did, and she didn't know and all. But I found out later that's what that was.
Yeah. Cool.
And all that.
Any of you guys banking any queens over the winter? Like multiple queens in one colony?
We had that discussion amongst a bunch of us down at the conference as well this weekend. So, and one person's made the statement they've banked queens for 3 to 4 months and they were fine.
I know they're doing that up in New York at the Bee Lab.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the name of the girl. She was on the one of the Zoom calls that we had when I was a part of the EPIC program with Penn State. And for some reason, that wasn't the topic she was supposed to be on there for. It just came up in conversation. And she mentioned about banking queens over winter. And boy, it grabbed my attention. And she says they do fine. They lose very few queens. They have found no difference whatsoever. They get accepted later when they split them out. They lay just fine. They said there's no drawbacks whatsoever. And I've not found anybody here that has done it successfully. Usually what happens is, and like I tried it last year, I put, a handful of queens in a nuke, and then put another nuke on top of it. And then the nuke died and it killed all of them. So I guess you got to have a colony that survives if you're going to get your queens to survive. So
the longest that I've ever done it, Rob, is 30 days.
Okay.
And had the queens be viable when they came out of the bank.
Okay.
Well, I thought you had only a certain portion of time when they are caged like that they're. Now, are these mated queens that you're banking or virgins?
Yeah.
All right. Now, is it the virgin that they can only be caged for so long and then they lose their ability to get mated or something like that?
Yes. Yeah. The virgins are on a time window. So they have so many days, or they just can't get mated. But supposedly, they were taking, say, a whole bunch of small colonies, mini mating nukes and whatnot, queens that they had that were going into winter, but little 3-frame nukers, and they were catching those queens out, and then they were caging them, and they were combining that. I guess, and I've seen some of these frames, and it looks like a kind of a cow trough. So they pull the foundation out, and they put a bar in there like a cow trough, and then they use a wooden cage, and they flip them every other one facing left, one facing right, and they stick that bar in the center of the colony, and the clusters on top of it, and they say they do well as long as the mother of the colony is not in the pack that you put in there. So you got to take her out, and then after that, I guess they mutually agree to all of them except so many of the queens, and they feed them through winter.
You're saying you got a banking frame that's got a foundation?
Yeah, so they take so if you take say a standard deep frame, pull the foundation out of it, so now you just got a frame, and then say you take a small piece of like a 2x4 or something, and you cut it so it sets inside the frame. You should put a screw in each end, but run it across and dado the center out so it looks like a feeding trough. And then you just make it so that you can take a wooden cage and stand it up inside there.
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
like the easy peasy banking frames, Charles.
Yeah, similar to that. And then you just drop that down inside and hold it in the middle, and then they all cluster around it, and but I'm thinking they're doing it in singles, because if that cluster moves up and the queens can't, then they're done.
They're done.
I'll let you know how it works out. I'm going to do some this year. So
Yeah.
I'll take
Now
some.
DC said Ryan actually tried that?
He had 6 out of 8 make it. Yeah, he actually did it. But I don't think it was over winter. I think it was like 60 days he had to make it.
DC, it wasn't. It was the easy peasy. Easy, yeah.
Okay.
You got the easy peasy. What's the other one?
JZBZ.
JZBZ. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the easy peasy frame.
Yeah, I do too.
It's just a trough and all that.
And the wooden cages will sit in it just fine. They won't turn sideways, but they'll face one way or the other. The wooden cages will sit in them.
Yeah, somebody was talking about JZBZ where I don't know whether it was the guy that was the hat on or not, the manufacturer, where they had screening, I'll say, made all the way around that cage, where he was saying they should maybe have not so much screening.
Yes, a certain part of the space so that the queen can go up and hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah. But I don't know. That's like I say.
Really? That's contagious, buddy. Don't do that again.
As far as like I say, mating for next year, I'm gonna go back to my cells, see how that works, and then
also tired of grafting. Getting tired of grafting?
Oh no, I like grafting. I enjoy that. It was just, it's like everything else that I do. I have to kind of try it a bunch of different ways and see what works best for me. And like I got the easy peasy cages, and I started like with Ryan down there saying, hey, let the queens hatch out in the cell builder so they can get fed immediately. Yep. So I've had experience where you leave them in the incubator and they'll come out, then they'll try to go back up into the cell because they're hungry, and then they get stuck and then they die, or you get there and they're dead because they've starved to death already, because they came out of the cage maybe 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So I have a much more higher viability while those queens are in there to get fed from the bees naturally.
Yep.
And that was something new that I was using. And I'm like, okay. And then I was, like with Kent Williams talking about where he put his after 7 days, they're mature, they're ready to get mated. He puts the bees right into the hive and they go out and mate. And they might get mated that same day. I didn't get that kind of luck at all. And then, so I guess I'll have to work on getting my two framers populated in a way where I guess like when I'm doing a demo or whatever, pull some of them frames up. You got full frame of bees with cat brood about ready to hatch out. Put that in the hives or in those two frame boxes, lock them up, and when they are used to that area, they'll stay there. One thing I did find was the queens that I had in my mating boxes that were successful. They were the ones that had a good population of bees inside the hive and all that. All right. It looks like Michael's back. He's got his popcorn. He's waiting.
He's waiting to be entertained.
Okay. So,
well, I got one for him if he wants to be entertained. Hey, what did the one drone say to the other drone? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
That's a good one.
Wow.
They also say that in the projects.
Hey, there we go. Now.
Wow, it's getting deep in here again.
yeah, Michael, I never used a 4-way mating box. The one thing that one guy said, you know how like the queen will pipe and then they'll tear down the other cells. The problem with the 4-way, and I don't know, some people say they have no problems with this, is that how about one compartment pipes? The other bees in the other compartments hear that and they kill the rest of the queens and the rest of the box. So I don't know whether that actually happens or not.
I think it is sort of proven that the queens don't necessarily go around stinging the cells.
No,
other bees
worker bees do that, but if they pipe in box A or compartment A and there's B and C here, that they kill their queens because they're they hear the piping.
I was making a video once and I was just kind of seeing what I had, and I went back and I was like, "Oh, there's queen cells right there." And I went back out there to make a split with them, and when I opened it up, the worker bees were tearing those queen cells down. Another queen had already hatched out. It's too late.
So what do you want me to explain, Michael?
Yeah, I was reading that.
You might have to come in here and do it because I don't know what you're talking about.
I got to get a drink.
Hey, Bill, do those extractors you have, or do you have does all the honey drain out without having to lift it up?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Yeah, I got my cheap Beevor. I'll show you guys what I'm struggling with. And do these.
I got some new pictures.
That got a nut on the inside.
Yeah. It's got a bulkhead, I think they call that.
Let me send them to myself, and then I can show you.
Is that just a regular honey gate then?
Yeah, that's all it is. The inside putting it through a filter there.
I see.
Yeah, this is kind of a pain. For a couple $100, what you gonna expect, right? Yeah, my nice extractor is still out at the farm unused. I've been using this cheap.
All right.
Well, Phil, if I got down to that far, I'd turn it on its side and let it drain out.
Yeah, really.
The bees, though, if you put it, I'll end up taking this out and letting the bees clean it out. If you leave any honey in it, they'll drown.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I usually have my son doing this. I'm just bored, so I decided to do it.
Yeah. What they were saying, Charlie, is I guess some folks don't know what a 4-way mating nuke box is.
Yeah.
Where'd Charlie go?
He went to get something to drink.
Oh, okay. I bought some of those 4-way mating nukes. I had an Amish guy in Ohio. I went out to what they call their tri-county meeting, and Troy Hall was there, and he was speaking, and he showed a picture of those, and I got a chance to talk with Troy offline a little, but he explained how in his slide presentation that he has 2 yards. He runs 50 4-way mating nukes in each yard. So that means he's got 200 queens available to him at any given point. And then he overwinters his bees in those. And he says that they actually share the heat just fine. And I'm telling you what, the pictures of them, which of course they're, spring or summer pictures, man, they were just bubbling with bees. I would imagine that you really got to be on them to get the queens out, or they'd be swarming left and right, just wee little swarms. But I bought 40 of them to try them. And so right now I have probably half of them sitting on top of a regular 10-frame box, just so they would go up, draw the comb out, and they have honey stored in it. And but I have a few that have some queens and brood in it. So
There you go, Phil.
Are the
Right there at the bottom.
way to put below the bottom there?
Yep. I'll show you the other one here in a second.
So, do those queen mating nukes you have, do they have are the dividers removable?
yeah, so the ones I bought actually have a 2-sided divider feeder. So the center of the feeder is full size, so the bees can't cross left or right to one another. And you could pull the feeder out and actually open up to 10 frames if you want, and give them all 10 frames for the winter.
Yeah, I've got those. I got those I made, but mine are 3-way, not 4-way. So there's three frames in each compartment.
Right. Yeah. My frames are half the width of yours, but they're deep frames. So I still have the depth. I just don't have the width. And but I have some here that I made myself. That are 3 frame with the divider board.
There's the other picture of it. You can see it right there at the bottom.
Yeah, that's
Bill.
nice. That is nice.
Yep. No more tilting extractors.
All I had to do was tilt. That'd be one thing. I got to tilt, and then I got to lift.
Yeah, and then you got to
Scrape and lift.
scrape and lift.
So, Rob, you say I've seen his videos up there, and actually he's on my show at one time.
Mm-hmm.
He had an overview of his operation. So did he take a deep box and just quarter it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they do is they take a deep box, and how you normally would make a 3-way mating nuke, instead of running your divider boards front to heel, they run the divider board side to side. So then you got a half frame, and then you use your feeder, basically, like if you think of a top bar hive, how they have what they call a follower board, where they can slide it left to right to make it as big or small as they want. So they're doing that where they're putting the feeder becomes like a follow board. So you could put I think it's was it 5 frames? No, 4 frames. Mine is 4 frames, then the feeder, and then 4 frames on the other side. But if I
Yeah.
pull my feeder out, then I can open it up to 10 frames, or I can shove my feeder all the way left or all the way right, and still have an 8 frame box with the feeder and make it 2 colonies with 2 entrances.
Yeah, Charlie, if you take Mike's small frames and divide a 10 frame into quarters, then you can get 5 of the small frames in each quarter.
Correct.
Does Mike make
Yes.
a mating box?
No, he doesn't make the mating box, but what he does is he takes the Applemade Defender and puts his frames in it. The Applemade Defender is the quartered mating box.
Oh,
And they have a feeder that sits on top. It doesn't go down in it, but it sits up on top.
I don't know. Will gave me that Appa May. I think it's the one. It's a 7 or 8 frame nuke, but you got a divider in the middle. I think it is. I don't know whether that's 3
Yeah.
or 3.
You have a divider in the middle, and then you got one across it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. He gave it to me. I haven't even looked at it.
Right?
Yeah.
And all that.
And it's 4 separate entrances on it. So, I mean, or you can narrow it down to 2, or you can make it 1.
Well, who was on here? It was me and Will, and something about, or Mike or Rob. Was it you that you put the hive on top of another hive? And no, I guess it was James. That's who it was out in Canada, where I'll say he had a 4-way quarterly, mating box, but he put it on top of another hive so the bees would come up, draw the comb out, populate it, maybe put some brood in there and all that. And it was kind of like self-made, I guess you would say. And then he would find the queen and put her back in the original hive. But then you had that 4-way where he could drop cells in there.
Yeah.
And everything was established, and he didn't have to fight about trying to get it established.
Right. And if you take and put a double screen board between that and the queen part of it,
There you go.
now you've got your mating nukes. They've got the heat already. So there you go.
Yeah. Bill, who did you mention earlier, right when we was kicking off? You say they only sell to dealers.
Shamrock.
Shamrock. I bought some used Shamrock 4-way mating nukes this spring off of a guy out of Florida, and they brought them up, and it was
they're really, really old.
Yeah, these are a really hard plastic type of a
they're
thing.
old.
Yeah.
They don't make them anymore.
Yeah. The feeders are nice. I like the feeders. The feeders are great.
Yeah.
You could use those in any 4-way mating nuke or any basically, small box, but they
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to my woodenware guy and I had him make me a 5-frame nuke that's actually wider than a regular 5-frame nuke by about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. And it gives me enough room to get a feeder down in there with them. So I'm using those for mating nukes.
I see.
Hey,
That
Bill,
way, when she comes back mated, when she leaves, I pull a frame out and put an empty foundation in there that's drawn out. That way, when she comes back, she's got something to lay on, and I can look at her laying pattern on a full frame.
Yeah.
So,
What'd you say, Phil?
I'm gonna get off of here. They were over at my mother-in-law's house and they brought me home a plate of food. So I'm gonna get off here and just listen and
Uh-oh.
dig out.
Priorities.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna head on out too. I'll see y'all later.
See you
right.
later, Brad.
See ya.
So, well, I guess like a three-way mating box or four-way, other than I guess it's a space saving situation where you got 4 queens in one box instead of having 4 boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
guess that's more or less just the advantage of everything.
Yep, that's the advantage to it. And I guess the other thing is you got if you do put it above a double screen board, you know, those bees in there aren't likely to leave, you know, to want to swarm, because you know how hard it is to keep bees in a mating nuke. So
I've never really had that problem. I mean, if they got loaded up with brood, you find the queen and pull the frame out and put another frame in, type of thing.
yeah, well,
And then with a double screen, you got the heat to keep them going because they're
yeah.
and all that. So,
Well,
and then for me, I got about 32 frame mating boxes, but I run out of space on my racks in the backpack here, and maybe a 4-way, but wouldn't take up.
4-way will save you a lot of time and a lot of space. That way, when you open one box, you're checking four mating nukes.
True. All that. So
yeah, the ones I bought off this Amish guy, it actually came with 4 individual inner covers,
Yeah,
which was kind of nice. And he was putting a hole on each one for a feeder jar. And I said, don't do it, because they already have a drop-in feeder, so they don't need a hole for a feeder. And
right.
I said, just let them go. There's not enough bees in there for them to get too hot. So, but yeah, I struggled a little with this year. I did get a lot of them to draw out the comb, but I had to keep pouring the syrup to them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Now,
I did.
The frames that Michael's talking about, I got some of them. I got 20 of them. And they are dipped with beeswax. And it's a pretty heavy coating, which I always use dip frames, so they usually tend to draw them out faster. So what's the advantage of a 4-way with 2 full-size frames? You can't get a 4-way with full-size frames.
the other way you could do that, we get a 3-way
or a 2-way.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you buy Michael sent me pics. I just got it.
That's easy.
I think. No, I don't have it yet.
You got Messenger up on your computer screen?
Yeah, but I don't have his message yet.
Yeah, I think the bottom line on all of it is how quick you can find a queen.
Yeah.
If you got a full frame you're looking at versus looking at a half a frame, it's just so much faster. If Charlie had mentioned about trying to find what worked for him with cells and virgins and hatching them, putting them in. The problem with cells is it's all timing.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's what I say. That was why I did what I did this year, because I found that I can bank these cells in these cages and it gives me more time.
Yeah.
Or because the weather was crappy or whatever and that kind of stuff. But Yeah, if you can get the photographs up, Bill.
But
I'm trying.
but yeah, so but for somebody who's trying to raise a lot of queens and sell a lot of queens, especially early in the season when you're raising nukes and stuff, just to have that advantage of, you graft 75 queens. Do you want 75 nuke boxes to put them in, or do you just want, 20 24-way mating nukes, and you drop a cell in each corner and you're done. It takes up less yard space, doesn't take as many bees.
Now, when you if you're placing these queen castles, are you spotting them around so they don't get mixed up, or you put them in a line, or?
I'm telling you what, if you ever been to Georgia, it is unbelievable. I wish I don't know how to share pictures, but I wish I could. Maybe
I've been to Georgia, and I've been out to the.
Yeah,
I've been out catching queens with them out there, but that's a whole different ball game with them guys.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at a Pine Bluff, and they got 100 nukes down one row of pines, spaced 15 feet apart, and they're all painted the same.
Not even that long. They got maybe 5 feet apart from each other.
And I mean, it's as far as I can see, and you move the next row over, and it looks exactly the same way. How those queens find their way back is beyond me. But I tell you what, they get a pretty good success on the returns.
Yeah, well, they'll have a group of 5 or 6 hives are just drone hives.
Yeah, right, for mating. But I mean, just
like that.
Just for that queen to find her way back to her actual box that she came out of is amazing to me. You put most people in there, put a quarter in one, put them in there, spin them around, tell them to go find the one you put the quarter in. They have no clue.
Exactly.
They all look the same to me. The trees look the same.
Yep.
Somehow they know.
Well, I think they do it off of smell.
Yeah, that could
off
be
pheromones.
Yeah,
they know. That's all that matters. They know. They come back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But
yeah, so I need to get some queenless packages from you this year too.
We can do it.
I'm gonna shock a bunch of people again this year. You should have seen the look on Charlie's face at that class.
Oh.
But I go ahead and share that picture, Bill. All right, now there's I used to have deeps and mediums. Now they're all mediums because that's what I run. And there are 2 framers that I built years ago, and that kind of stuff. And then now I got them to where, let's see if I can get a better picture. Let's see. Remove that one. Now share the next one. It's at the bottom.
If I can remember how to do it, I'd be glad to do it.
Just click on it.
I did.
Now, are you got 2 pictures or 1?
1.
Now let me remove it and
there you go.
now try it again. There we go. Now there's one. If you can see, I got my little door there that I can flip down to keep them all inside. I got the wooden boxes on top, which actually cover up the Now I use a little pint jar with a screw-on lid, with the holes plugged in it, and I feed them that way. But I got a couple racks like that there, which is fine. But maybe, I could take 4 of them boxes all over one box and free up a lot of space. So maybe I need to invest in something like that or try 1 or 2 of them.
All right, here's these Apame pictures.
All right.
So you got an entrance there, an entrance there, or entrance here, and entrance here. And then there's 2 on the back on the other side. All right.
They look awfully close together.
Yeah. There it is broken down. But there's the frames. I mean, it's 4 frames. And I'll show you a picture of Michael's here in a minute. Those are Michael's frames right there. So, yeah.
Yeah, they look just like we call it clover.
Yeah, they're almost like an acorn frame, except they're heavier duty frame, and they're a little bit heavier dipped than acorn.
As far as wax goes.
Yeah.
Well, does Michael make a box or he just makes the frame? I guess he just makes the frames.
He just makes the frames. Here's another picture of it.
They're like a 3D printed one, you think?
Yeah,
no,
they're injection molded.
Oh, injection molded.
Yeah.
Michael has an injection molding company, and he does. His main thing is school furniture for kids. So then he's made molding. He's got into the making bee frames and uses the machine. There it is.
Yeah. And it's got 5 holes in it, 1 on each corner and 1 in the center for travel.
So how did you get that drawn out as far as the type of, did you have a 4-way box that you set it up on top of another hive or something, or?
Those are Michael did those, not me.
Oh, okay. Is that the way?
That's his apiary.
Right. No, I was thinking Robert there. What's the guy up? It's not Todd. Up in New Hampshire.
Oh, Troy Hall.
Troy.
Yeah.
In that I watched him, but I think isn't it a deep box that's got 4 compartments?
Yep.
And then he wrapped them up with, I don't know, insulation, and
I think he did wrap his. Yeah, I believe
wrapped
he
them
did.
with something. I forget what it was. Just tar. It wasn't more. It was more than tar paper, I thought.
Yeah, I think
Him and Michael Palmer are pretty good friends, and I think he did the tar paper, and then he actually had
on the roof and
insulation board up on the roof or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know whether it's 4 half frames equal. I don't know. I would like to get in. I mean, I can sell all the mated queens I could possibly get my hands on.
Yep. I do. I every mated queen I get, I sell. So it's always
Well, I mean, everybody was complaining. You know, they wanted mated queens. They did not want virgins. I had to sit there and explain to them how to install a virgin. And then
Well,
I often thought here recently, I've seen something where maybe I need to try a push-in cage and
yeah,
do it that way.
yeah. I mean, beekeepers, you and I and Rob and probably Will, we could wait on a cell. We know what to do to keep them there, keep them going till they get that queen back, right? New beekeepers aren't taught that way. That are around to the newer ones that are coming up today. They're not taught that way. They're not taught that at all. How to maintain a hive, a queenless hive until you get a queen in it, right?
Right.
Because it's 30 plus days before you get a laying queen back. So with the virgin, you're cutting down that time on by about 2 weeks, right? So you still got the mating period, and then the period she's got to have to get back to get herself straightened out before she starts laying a good pattern. So figure that's another 2 to 2.5 weeks, right? So they're not patient enough to wait for that virgin. They want that immediate gratification, instant gratification, so to speak. And that's why they want that mated queen, because they don't know. They've never been taught.
I had a guy that got one of my newest virgins out this year, and like you said, it's about 4 weeks, you know, and it was cold and it was rainy, and you know they couldn't get out and all that stuff. And it was early, you know, let's say mid to late April. It was cold, you know that. You had to take your bee class and push it back 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it did.
So anyway, I called him up. I said, how did it go? Oh, must have not. I'm gonna get a mated queen and blah blah blah. And then the next day he texts me, says, well, she was back, she's laying, she's her eggs. And he went in there and he seen evidence and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they just, you know, they want it right now, and it's not that way.
So I don't know how to share a screen, but I can share this. This is off of my phone. So hopefully it'll show up enough. But can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
So like blow it up, Bill.
So that is that's frames and a feeder made by Motherload.
Yep.
And so, you know, if you make your own box,
you can make it as many as you want.
Yeah, you can make as many as you want. You know, just cut a board, put a couple screws in the side, screw it in the center, run on a table saw for your
Now,
shelf.
is that a wooden box?
That's a standard wooden box.
And that's a Motherload box?
I don't know who made the box, but they were selling the frames and the feeders. So I called out there, nobody picked up, and I wanted them to send me a sample of a feeder and a couple of their frames just to, you know, put my hands on, but nobody ever returned my call.
Yeah, they should have them at Nobby this year. If they make them, they'll have them at Nobby.
The only thing with that, looks like them feeders, they all bend or something. They can't seem to stay straight.
They do.
Yeah. See if I can come up with this picture of Troy Hall stuff.
But yeah, maybe I need to look into that.
Well, I know one thing: the queen's either there or she's not. She ain't hiding.
No, she's not going to hide in that. That's for sure, because she can't. There's no way, no place for her to hide.
I don't know about that, because I was down there to Georgia, and they're down there and they're looking and flipping and looking and flipping and looking and flipping, and they couldn't. Oh, there she is! Finally, it's on the wall. Or they got a miniature feeder in there, and they'll, you know, the bees will make comb down into the feeder, and a lot of times she's down inside that feeder. They'll bang the darn feeder out on the ground to find her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gee, Tom's going to kill me for having my feet out here in videos. I'm trying to get him out of the way. So let me show you. So I just looked around my garage. So I actually have the bottom board to one of mine I left in here. So like when I do my normal wood ones,
Blow it up, Bill.
I'll kind of go backwards and explain how I do it.
There you go.
Right. That's just a medium box, but pretend it's a deep. So the way I do mine, you can buy them different ways or make them yourself, but you just take a deep box and then you take one thick piece, or you can take two pieces of 3/4 side by side and run them right down the center, and you can cut your 2 rabbets to make your extra channels. Sorry, this way, I'm backwards. This way, and then put your 2 channels in. That way you've got a set of rabbets here and a set of rabbets here. Then you can do a stack of frames and then a stack of frames. And then you make a floating divider. You can make 1 or 2 or however many you want to do. And you make a floating divider that fills the gap up that you can drop in between. So the center's fixed. It's screwed in there however you want to do it. Your little floating dividers, you can float to make this 2 small chambers or make it 1 big chamber. I have mine set to make them split into 4s. So on my bottom board, I've got this extra shim of wood. So that takes up the gap so they can't spill over and go to the box next to them. And then I have the entrances in the bottom, and I spray them different colors so they can see them. That way I don't drill holes in my boxes. And then so this center's fixed. So I can do 10 and 10. Or if I want to split it, I can do 4 separate chambers. And then you can do 1 big, you can cover however you want. It's easier to make 4 separate little inner covers, so you're not opening all the bees at once. But if you want to just shimmy stuff around, it's whatever you want to do. When you buy them pre-made, a lot of times they don't come with a top. That way you've got to do it yourself, which makes it a pain. But, you can do it to where, if you make 2 queens and one of them over here doesn't come back, all you got to do is pull the center divider out, and now this 1 queen has all these frames to work. And the way I get them drawn out, I do it 2 ways. So sometimes if I got plenty of bees, I'll just put frames in. I'll just pour bees in them like you're making a little styrofoam mini mating nute and drop a queen cell in. Other times I take this whole box and I only put the divider right in the center. I take the little floaters out of the way. That's what that one picture that Bill has of the wood box, that's what I was doing, is getting them drawn. I'll fill all these up and I'll stick them on top of a good strong hive, and I'll let them come up and draw out all the comb. And if you want to really be the lazy man way about doing it, you cannot put a queen excluder and let the queens come up and let them start laying in it and give you lots of nice eggs and cat brood, some pollen, some honey. Then make sure to get her out of there and pull this whole thing off and drop in queen cells, or let them try to pull cells off the eggs on your own if you're really new and really squeamish about not sure how to make a queen. You can try to go about it that route. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but the simplest way is let them draw all this, or just pour a ton of bees inside of it and put a feeder on them and let them go to town.
Yeah.
But as long as you're not drilling holes in your boxes, if you just make your bottom boards accommodate the entrances, you're not ruining any of your equipment except that piece of wood that you put in here across. If you screw it from the outside, you can always take those couple screws out and pull that piece out if you want to. That way you don't lose your box. So you don't have to dedicate them for that all year long if you don't want to. It's just you can if you want to go that route. And I've got some that are dedicated and then some that aren't. Most of mine I leave dedicated. And I run, so the dividers that came in these are pretty thick, the ones I'm using that this board came with. So I can only do a 5 and a 4, the way it kind of lines up funny. So when I draw these out, I'll put 9 frames on each side, and I'll take that floating divider and just shove it to the back wall out of the way like a filler. And then I just pull it, move it where I want, split my bees up. So, but yeah, if you're making a lot of queens, it's a good way to conserve space if you don't have a lot of space.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a whole lot of bees to fill.
Yeah. What I like about it is if you you can set that on top of another hive and let the bees populate all them small frames.
Oh yeah, that picture I sent Bill that had all the honey and stuff in it. I was letting another hive build all that stuff out, just making all the resources I need. And then if you let your queen go up there, you've got eggs that are being capped. You've got nurse bees and everything already up there tending them. So all you gotta do is just pull that off and stick it on the bottom, and you're ready to go. Drop queen cells in or whatever you want to do with it. And those, like the deep frames are big enough. When the new queen hatches, when she starts laying, you want to see what a good pattern. If she has a good pattern, like she got mated well, that would be filled out enough that when you take that queen out and just put a new queen cell in, you've always got all the ages of bees that you need to do all the work constantly in there. So the queen that you're getting mated is constantly refilling all the components that you need to put the new queen in. So it's not like you have to take this back off and get it repopulated. It just kind of self-runs as long as you keep loading queen cells in it constantly. Every time one's ready, pull that queen out, put her in a cage, drop your new cell in that you grafted, and just keep on going.
Yep, that's right.
And if you're really on it, I mean, you could put like number 8 cloth and put screens in between them, and you could stack these up and put entrances on the sides. That way they can all conserve heat and sit there and cook together.
Yep.
Well, that'd be like what is it called? A Snellgrove board. You could
Yeah.
put one there.
So yeah, I mean, I was thinking, as much as you're wearing queens out and making tons of honey up there, it might be a way for you just to make a ton of queens and make them. Yeah. Slowpoke down here, I got a queen. She'll hang around for 4 years. So I'm just doing this because I don't have a lot of space out back, and it's just easier on me. But being, big time guys up there like you guys, you could probably throw 10 or 20 of these out and keep them filled all the time.
Hey, Michael, lift your deep box off once. So I seen this. I took some boxes over to have dip at a guy's house, and he had a guy make just what you got right there.
Mm-hmm.
Except for what he did is right where your doors are painted.
Yeah.
What they did is they put a piece of wood that would fit right in your hole there, and then he put a screw right down through the middle, and then he could turn that 90 degrees, which would give you an opening. And then if he wanted to move them, he would just push it and it would shut the door, and then the bees couldn't come out, and they'd move it to a new bee yard, and then he would just rotate that door again 90 degrees, and it would open up for the bees to come and go.
Yeah, well, that'd be like like a Snellgrove board.
Yeah.
Very similar to that. Yeah, and I thought that was neat. He just had 4 little hinge doors that just pivoted on a screw. And I thought, well, that's pretty clever. You're not stapling screen on the door. It's already there, and it's just a smart little, adjustment to what you got.
See, if you're wanting to do these out of wood yourself, all you got to do when you make your dividers, make them tall enough to stick up above the wood box itself. Then you've got 2 rims where you can cut your own little inner cover with a feeder jar hole or whatever in it. And then when you sit it in and push it, they'll hit those 2 walls. So they'll always be covered, and the bees will always be separated. So you can just work on one little compartment at a time without disturbing everything else pretty easily.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Yeah, maybe if you have some old boxes that are, not so great, but still good enough to use, it might be something you use them for before you just, burn them or whatever. So.
Yeah, before they become kindling.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a corner rodding out, then you've got, if you got this corner rod out, then you've got an entrance for this 4-way component. So use it for that. And
yeah.
Well, let's see. I'm going to hop off and flip my screen around here. I'll be right back.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the difference between that setup and a queen castle is a queen castle is a 10-frame box split into 4 chambers, and you have 4 leaky roofs that kill bees. Am I lying, Rob?
Yeah, no, you're 100% spot on. Yeah.
Why is that? You say leaky roofs. I thought that
Because you have those 4 strips that make the cover for it.
Yeah, but then you put a telly on top of that.
You got to put another lid on the lid, and then you have an ant hive.
Yeah, an ant hive. Yeah.
There's an answer in there then.
Yeah. So those 4 little chambers and those 4 little masonite separators. I mean, you're inviting rain to come in, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, how with what Michael there? I mean, how's he going to cover his up then? With
It's
Oh,
an
he'll use
affirmate cover.
yeah. He'll use a one big telescopic cover to cover
Yeah,
all
or
4.
you use, and you can put the 4 separate inner covers on there and just set a regular top over top of it.
Yeah. Good.
I used to raise queens in queen castles, and I killed more bees and more queens than I probably raised.
well, what would you call that then? And then in that a queen castle?
No, it's a 4-way mating box. There's a difference.
I thought that's what a queen castle was a 4-way mating box.
Man, you know what? I just learned if you have a big forehead, the camera adds another 10 inches of forehead.
Yeah, it does.
Jeez.
Calling your angle. Calling your angle.
You got to comb your hair down, Michael.
Well, if I do that, you'll start seeing where it's thinning out. So that doesn't help much. That's what hats are for. Now,
Gary wants to know what prevents the bees from going into one of the other sections. The separator boards are all the way up to the top. There's no space for them to go under or over.
That's right. Yeah. So like if you're making your own, when you make those spacers, when you make your boards in the centers, especially the removable ones that float, you've got to make sure, you're making it really good and tight. You can't have gaps.
Can't have any space.
Can't be cockeyed. It's got to be straight and true and snug.
Yep.
So like with those, you can have a really thick divider, and you'll get 4 frames in each of them. But you can even use something as thin as like a piece of Luan if you want to get really risky with how well your lids seal up.
Oh yeah.
But I made some just a 3/4, a piece of 3/4 with the 3/4 rim on top, and just make it that exact dimension. Works really well.
Yeah.
I forgot when I was out here. Different subject. Let me just turn to see if you can see it.
When it comes to those small frames like that, what Mike's making, is that standardized? Or is the width of them and all?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same width as his other frames. Same width, same
No, I'm talking
thickness.
about when you're making that divider in the middle, making for the ears to be able to.
Yeah. When you make a divider, so you put a piece of 3/4 straight up, and then when you put the top bar on and screw it down into it, you make it the full width to fill the rabbits and everything.
Yeah.
That way it's completely sealed off. It's like, it looks flat from the top. So you'll make a flat piece that fills in that rabbit, but then also a little extra tallness for whatever you want your little lip to stick up so your inner cover can, nestle against it good and tight.
Yeah.
I don't have any out here I'd show you. I've actually got mine on hives right now. Or they're out in the yard. I think I took them off, but I haven't cleaned them up. I've got stuff all in the bee yard right now everywhere.
That never happens. Come on, Michael.
Yeah.
Did you pick the boxes up that are laying in your bee yard yet?
No, they're still out there.
You sound like me, dude.
A couple months ago, I took them off because I'm not worried about my frames hurting, so they can get rained on, sun, whatever. And most of my boxes that are out there are wax dipped right now, are the ones I've got laying out. So I've got them stacked up 5'6" tall. I've got them standing on end. I've got them laying at angles against everything. If I move them now, the bees aren't going to know where to go home. So they're using them for markers everywhere. So, hey, when I'm thinking about it, I keep meaning to ask you guys if you've seen this before. So these Hive IQ boxes I've got some in the garage. I'm not using at the moment. So have any of you used any and noticed, maybe it's just an Arkansas thing, every little edge, everywhere it's like a 90-degree or 45-degree edge in the corners of the boxes, especially in all the little handles and ridges, in my yard, they're all chewed up. Like the paint's chewed off, the foam's exposed on every single edge everywhere. And I've got grasshoppers like crazy, so I don't know if it's the grasshoppers that are doing it. That's the only thing I can figure. Because it's even behind the hives where there's no entrance. But I always have grasshoppers everywhere back there. I mean, they're all over the place. That's the only thing I can think that's sitting there gnawing on my hives that much, because it's every single poly box I have of that on every single corner and every single ridge. It's got a fine line where it's just been the paint's been chewed back down to the foam. It's not sun. If you can tell, it's not sun damage. It's not uniform enough. It's something's been at it. And I thought, well, maybe I let some weeds go and like the vines that climb up things, but this is too exact because there's nowhere else on the surface except those angles specifically, and that is it.
I had one in my yard, and it didn't even make it the full season. It cooked my bees in that hive, and I haven't used it since.
I've got mine sitting in full sun, so
mine was too.
Mine, I've got that one nuke that I got from my buddy that just because I needed some standard size and I didn't have any standard bees. I never did take them out of it. I just left them in there to see what would happen. So it never got really big and strong to where it'd probably make enough heat to make an issue. They're still like down in like one deep basically right now.
Yeah.
So I haven't had that issue, but I've had the things chewing and eating on them, I guess.
Yeah. And out of all the hives on the market, that would be the only hive that I would say you need to have a screen bottom board in for ventilation.
Yeah, they told me, it's like if you close it up for more than like a day or two, they're dead. It's got to be open.
Well, I mean, you got these other ventilated or insulated hives. They don't seem to have a problem.
No, they don't. But this is a styrofoam hive, and it cooked my bees in less than 3 months.
I mean, I had that licensed 6-frame nuke, double nuke, and I did have one of the holes in the bottom opened up, vent holes. None of them in the top were opened up, and the best I can remember, about 3/4 of that hole in the bottom, it was propylized up, and they didn't. And I had the entrance was wide open. I took the little plastic thing out in the summertime. They didn't have a problem at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they're still in there now, but yeah, just every time I go out, it's eating up more. So I'm not gonna go back and keep painting over it either. It's just it is what it is now.
You got something out there that likes to chew on it.
Well, it's not like a skunk or a raccoon or anything like that.
No, I've got them in my garden that's gated off. My dogs are back there, so it's something bug wise. And like when I go out there, grasshoppers are flying off things left and right constantly. So I'm assuming they're chewing on it. I don't know if they like to paint or they're trying to get to the foam, and since those angles stick out, it gives them a place to actually like bite onto it. You can't really bite onto the flat surfaces. I don't know.
I know Brad up there in Manitoba, he had some styrofoam boxes, those nukes that he had up there. Now he got them from somebody else, and they said, what was it, the wax malls or something like that, 8 holes into them or something like that. I forget what it was now. So,
beats me. Yeah. Anyway,
well, everybody, it's 10 o'clock, and it's Monday night, and I'm sure there's people that need to go to work tomorrow. So if you've enjoyed it,
Michael had to go to work tomorrow.
I got to go in early and paddle. I go in today. I got to go in and paddle coat at like 5 a.m. tomorrow.
You need more bees so you can quit your day job.
Exactly. That's exactly what you need is more bees.
Yeah, more bees.
Then you work 2 jobs.
How do you work?
So, if you enjoyed the chat tonight, smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It keeps us all hanging around a little bit longer. And tomorrow night is Nancy's chat at 7:30, Bob Walker's chat at 8. And Thursday night should be the week for a late night show, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So,
on Thursday night, right? Yep.
Yeah, Thursday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard.
10 o'clock Eastern Standard. And then Friday night is Charlie, and I'll be back on Friday night. So y'all have a good evening, and we'll see you next week.
I'll
Good
see
night.
you tomorrow night, Rob.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're still on for that.
Yep. I'm on. Everything's good to go. So, yeah, that'd be good.
All right.
All right. I'll be back in the green room in a second.
All right.